Hello class, today we're going to be conducting an experiment and it directly aligns with the next generation science standards dealing with structures and processes, which is K-LS1-1, which is the use observations to describe patterns of what plants and animals, including humans, need to survive. Okay, so our learning goal today is to understand the life cycle of a plant and what it needs to live and grow. So we're going to put on our science hats today and we're going to observe the world around us like scientists do. If you remember yesterday what we talked about the 5 senses of what scientists use to observe the world around them. Does anyone remember what one of those senses were? That's right, sense of smell, sight, hearing, taste. Those are all senses we can use to observe the things around us, just like scientists do. So today we're going to be using, let me pull this up right now, some beans. We're going to be using a wet paper towel, some water that you see at your station, about 10 milliliters of water, not a lot, just enough. And we're gonna have a plate. Everyone should have a plate like this at their workstation with everything on it. And it's going to help us see the life cycle of a plant. And that is exactly what we're gonna observe in the next couple of weeks, what the life cycle of a plant is. But before we get there, let's talk about some vocabulary. And what vocabulary could we possibly be wondering when it comes to the life cycle of a plant? Does anyone here, show of hands, know where plants normally come from? What do we usually start with before we get these beautiful flowers or these fruit that we find in trees or anything else that we see plants that grow? Where do they usually come from? Does anyone know? That's right, they come from seeds. So seeds are going to be our vocabulary, and it is the smallest form of what you have before you have a plant. You start with a seed, and then you have a sprout, which is the next form that a plant takes. Then you have a seedling, and then you have an adult plant. So what I'm going to give you, so you can put in your science notebooks, is the life cycle of a plant, and we have that right here. So you can see we have a seed, and then we have a sprout right here, and seedling, and an adult plant. And if you look on your plate right now, you feel it, you can smell it. It doesn't really smell like anything. Don't taste it. You don't need to taste it. There's nothing to taste. It doesn't make any noise. But if you use your sense of touch, you can sense of sight, well, don't use your sense of taste, but if you use your sense of smell, I don't know if I went over that, it doesn't really smell like anything. But what does this look like? Does it look like a seedling? No. Does it look like a sprout? No. Does it look like an adult plant? No. What does it look like? It's a seed. And what? Does anyone here know what kind of seed this is? It's a bean. How many here like bean burritos? Did you know that beans were seeds, that we were eating nothing but seeds, cooked seeds? It's funny when you think about it like that, but that's just what we're eating. And you can actually grow this into a bean plant. And that is what we are going to do, and we're going to observe. So let's start our science experiment before we start our observations. So what I need each one of you to do is grab one of these beans right here. Grab one or two, and we're gonna take our water, and we're gonna take our dry napkins, and we are going to put water all over the napkin to get it really wet. Once you do that, once you have your wet napkin, you are going to take one seed, or two. You can take 2 if you want. Let's do 2. We're gonna take 2 seeds, we're gonna put it in the napkin, and we're gonna wrap it tight. We're gonna wrap it tight like that. We're gonna do a couple folds, and we're gonna make sure these stay wet. And why do we need these napkins to stay wet. Why do you guys think that we need the napkins to stay wet? What do plants need to live and grow? So we start with a seed, and what does a seed need to grow? That's right, it needs water. It needs to have water in order for it to start sprouting. And if we have water, sometimes you can't just put it in the dirt and expect it to grow. If the dirt's dry, it's not going to grow. You put it in the dirt, a little bit of water, it'll grow. But as a matter of fact, we can start our seedlings like this. So what I want you to do is, once we have this, we're going to write in our science notebooks what you think is going to happen. And you could start by saying, I think that the seed will either grow or not grow. And that's going to be our educated guess. Do you think the seed's going to grow, or do you think it's not going to grow? And we will be checking on this throughout the week, documenting what we observe, see if we get some seedlings, and we probably will most likely get some. Because why? Because we're giving the plant exactly what it needs to grow. So, thank you, class. I hope we get lots of seedlings. I hope we have lots of plants, lots of bean plants in here. And I hope we grow some good stuff. And that way we can observe just like scientists with our science hats on. And we get to see everything we need to see in order to see what plants need to live and grow, just like us. We need water as well, and we need food. So, thank you, class. I'll see you next time. Bye.